In this series of videos you're about to watch, you're going to learn how to create a 4-page website for Isuzu Ute Australia. Instead of making single web pages, we've now moved on and we're going to start linking them together using rollover menu bars, as you can see at the top here. So we're on the home page at the moment, which is also known as the index page. It's basically a little bit of information about who Isuzu are. There's also a link at the bottom where you can click on the video and it will play one of their TV commercials. Okay. Going back up the top, you can click on the DMAX page and you can see the ute that Isuzu sell. Find a little bit of information about them and also have a hyperlink there that links to their official webpage. They also sell a car called the MUX, so we've got some information about that and we can click on the link to find out more. Finally, the last page we'll be making is the contact page. And as you can see, we've got a nice looking Google map up the top that shows us the address of the dealership on the Sunshine Coast, or one of the dealerships. And you can zoom in and out. It's an interactive map, so quite handy to be able to see how to get there. Also down the bottom we've got the address, contact details, the opening hours and services they get up to at that dealership. Okay, so it's a pretty professional and detailed website. It is fairly consistent in design across the 4 pages, thanks to the use of CSS. We're going to have a look at that later on. Okay. But in this video we're just going to be making the home page and styling it up. Alright, so let's go over to brackets now and get started. Actually, we won't go into brackets, we're just going to make some new folders first. So the first folder you want to make today is called Lesson 12 Isuzu. And once you've made that, make a second folder called Images. In Images you'll need to copy and paste in the pictures. We've got a couple of banners there. Actually make that 3 banners we've got. One for the home page, one for the MUX, one for the DMAX page. We've also got a video which goes on the home page. And we've also got a text document which contains code for the Google map you would have seen on the contact page. Okay, so a few different things there. If we go back a folder, back into the Lesson 12 folder, we've also got some written information. And if I open that document up in Microsoft Word, you'll see we've got the information that needs to be included on the index page. Scrolling down, let's make this a bit bigger. Scrolling down you can see we've got information for the DMAX page, the MUX page, and finally the contact page. So all the information has been researched and written up for you. It's just your job to copy and paste that into brackets, style it up using HTML and CSS, and then we should have a finished working website. So let's get started in brackets. We'll make ourselves a new document to begin with and we'll go to File and Save As. Go into the folder that you made today, which was Lesson 12 Isuzu, and give it the name Index. Now when you're making websites with more than one page, it's really important that your home page, or the first page that loads, is called index.html. Alright, and we'll click on Save once we've got our index.html page all made up. So we're going to keep making our pages like we have in previous lessons, where we start with the doc type tag at the top of the page. Put my exclamation mark there, doc type, HTML. Okay, we'll start opening up our HTML tags and do our head section. In the head section today we're just going to have a title to begin with, and that's going to say Isuzu Ute Australia. Beneath the head section we'll get straight into the body. We're not going to worry about style tags up there today. We're going to do something a little bit different very shortly. Okay, before I go into the body section, I'm just going to save this. I'm going to show you the finished copy. The way we set up this page is using div tags. So we divide our page up into sections. The first section is this black section at the top that starts with the heading at the top. We've got the menu bar and we've got this image. Okay, you can see the black section just finished below the image. That's our first div or divided section. Moving down we've got another div section which is this white area. Okay, it's just got the body text in it. Down even further we've got this div where we've got the video and the copyright statement at the bottom. So it's split up into 3 sections basically. Bottom section here, or the footer, we've got the main part here which is our body part, and up the top we've basically got the header section. Alright, so inside the body, let's split up our page into the first divided section, or the first div. Okay, inside that div we're going to give ourselves a H1 heading. It says the same as our title, Isuzu Ute Australia. Okay. From there, we simply go down to the next line, and we're going to put our menu bar in. So make a new paragraph, and menu bars are simply unordered lists, or a list of bullet points, and we just style them up using CSS code to make them look like a cool menu bar. But the basics of them, just an unordered list, stuff you've done before in previous lessons. Okay, so write the UL tags in first, just to say that you're starting an unordered list or a list of bullet points. And to add your first bullet point, you need to add an LI tag or a list item to your page. And it's going to be the home button. On the next line, we'll add in another list item. It's going to say DMAX. After that, we'll add another list item for our third bullet point, and we'll write MUX. And our last bullet point, or the last item in our menu bar, is just going to be a list item that says contact. That'll be our contact page. Once you've done those 4 list items, make sure your unordered list tag is closed off, and below that your paragraph is closed off. And the last bit we need to do now in this div section is an image tag. So the image source for this one is in our images folder, and it's the picture called main banner.jpg. Just close your image source tag off. So that's our first section all done up. Okay, it doesn't look any good at the moment. When I save it and preview it, you'll see exactly that. So I'll just open up this index page. Looking pretty ordinary, but it's a start. We've got our H1 heading, we've got our list items here, which is going to be our menu bar, and we've got an image in, which is going to be a nice big banner across the page. Time to start the next section. So below that closing div tag, we're going to add another div tag in, or another section. Okay, so in this section, we've got the next little heading, so I'll do a new paragraph for it first of all, and I'm going to give it a H2 heading, this one. It's going to say about Isuzu Ute. It's not quite as big as the first heading. If we save it, we'll have a look at how that heading goes when we put it in. Here it is down here. Just a little bit smaller than the main heading. Alright, coming in beneath that, we've got all our text that we need to copy over from Microsoft Word. Okay, so I'm going to make a new paragraph. Oops. Actually, I won't even make a new paragraph yet. A bit too soon. I might copy and paste this information in first. So it's going to start with based in Brisbane. It's going to go all the way down to where it says the entire country. Just press Ctrl+C to copy it. Go back to brackets and paste it in. Now we can use our p tags to split it up into paragraphs. Okay, so there's the first one. Nudge this across and we'll put the next one in. That finishes at technology. Okay, moving along. Do another p tag, and that finishes at engine. And just moving along one more time. That finishes at the end of our country there. Alright, so we've got our 4 paragraphs in. So with a bit of copy and pasting, I put P's at the start and end of each of those 4 paragraphs. I'm going to save that. We'll have a look and see if we got that writing in okay. Yeah, we sure do. So that's not too bad. Not too much writing there to worry about. That's that div section all finished off. So that's like our main section, and at the bottom, as I said before, we've got another div section where we've got some just a video and copyright statement. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a new paragraph first of all. Inside that paragraph we're going to insert a video. Okay, so to put a video in, we go to video. We also want some controls on this video, like the play button and the pause button, so write video controls. Inside that we're going to add in the source. So we write the word source, then we write src, and then we write equals, and we just look for that video. It's in our images folder and it's called isuzu.mp4. Okay, a little bit confusing that bit, but basically here it is. We started our last divided section at the bottom of the page. We made a new paragraph. We said we're inserting a video with some controls on it, so that's play and pause. Then we just tell it the source, where we get that video from. And as I said, it's in our images folder. And then we close off the video tag. When I save that, go and preview it. Hopefully we've got a video loading at the bottom of the page now. Here it all is. You can press play and hopefully that works. It sure does. Okay, and still in this last little section at the bottom, we just want to put in a copyright statement so people know that they shouldn't be copying work from this website. So let's do the last paragraph down here. So I might just keep it on one line. I'm just going to write copyright. To do the little copyright symbol, you need to use a special code where we write and copy semicolon. That'll do a little C with a circle around the outside of it. 2016 Isuzu Ute Australia. And then you can close that P bracket off. Alrighty, so that's that final paragraph done. I'll just delete a few spaces here. Whoops, not that much. And then we can probably go and test that, and I think we're going to be almost done with our information, and it's just up to us to style it all up. Yep, so there's our copyright at the bottom. Alrighty, so that's looking pretty good. I think we need to now go and style our page up. So we're going to do things a little bit different today. We're going to use ourselves a new document to do our style tags. Okay, so if I scroll back up the top, we're used to doing our styling for our page up in this head section here, but we're going to change that today. What we're going to do is make a new document. We're going to go to File and Save As, and it's going to go in the same place that you're saving all your web pages. So in Lesson 12 Isuzu, and I'm just going to call it style.css. Okay, so we're making an actual file where we can store our CSS code or our styling code. Okay. So what we're going to do, first of all, is we're going to style up the body section like usual. Okay, so let's start with the word body. Open up a curly brace like we usually do, and we'll change our font family. Sans serif is always a good choice. Font size, we choose 1 EM like usual. Okay, line height, 1.5 EM. That'll do us for now. I just want to save this page, so I'll press Ctrl S to save it. I'm going to go back to my index page now, so you can see we've got both pages open here. We've got the style code, we've got our index. And what I'm going to do now is tell this index page to go and look at the style sheet to get that styling code. So up in my head section, so up in the head tags here, just below the title, what we're going to do is write in a certain piece of code that's going to help us link to that style sheet. So we write the word link, and then we write rel equals, and we write style sheet. Then we write type equals, it's just some text and CSS. And after that we do href, and we just tell it where we find this style sheet. So here it is here, it's style.css. A little bit confusing, but that one line of code will now link our index page and our style sheet here together. So our index is now going to get styled up using this, whatever's on this page here, so this code. So I've saved both of those documents. I'm going to go back over to my website and watch what happens when I refresh this. My font has changed now to sans serif. It's got the 1.5 line height in there. Okay, it's got the 1 EM as its size. It's starting to link those two sheets together. So we can keep styling up our page just using this CSS style sheet here. Okay, so we might as well keep going, and we'll keep styling little bits and pieces at a time. Next thing I want to style up is the image. I want it to fill up 100% of the page. So I'm going to say width is going to be equal to 100%, and just close my curly brace. Something else that I'll style up before I go any further is my H1 heading. Okay, so I'm going to write H1 in my curly braces. I'm going to go text align center. The padding at the top of it, just going to give it a bit of room to breathe at the top of the page there, so I'm going to write 20 pixels. What else can I do? I might change it to uppercase writing as well. So I'll go text transform and choose uppercase. And that'll just put my H1 heading into capital letters. So let's save that. We now should see a bit of a change to our image and our H1 heading. Let's refresh the page. See our heading's got nice and big. It's in the center of the page there, and we've also got our image filling up 100% of the page as well. Okay, so far so good. I might start adding a little bit of color in now. Something that's going to affect the entire page on my website. I'm going to put this at the top. I'm going to style up the entire HTML document. And all I am going to put in here is the background color. So background color. And I want the background color to be black. And just close your curly braces. So a little bit of code there. We'll change our background color to black. I'm just going to press Ctrl S to save that. It's going to make our writing disappear because it's black as well. But we've now got that cool black background in there. We'll just have to change the color of our font very shortly. Okay, so let's go back to our code. What I might do, I'm going to go back to my index HTML for a minute. I want to leave my background color black, but what I am going to change up is one of these divs. And the div I'm going to change here is this body, well, the main part, where I've got the body text. So what I'm going to do is give it an ID name, a unique name. So I'm going to go just into this div tag, which is just above my body text. Div, and I'm going to write ID equals, and in quotation marks I'm going to write main. Okay, so this area now, or this div tag, I can style up, and just style that alone. It won't affect anything else. So what I'm going to do is go back to my style sheet now. Just down a bit further, I'm going to write hashtag main, and I'm just going to style it up. Okay, so obviously the first thing we want to do is we want to be able to see our text. Okay, so let's change our background color back to white. That way we'll be able to see that black text. I'm going to close my curly brace there. So remember, this hashtag main is just going to style up where I wrote this ID main. So just this div tag here. So I'll save that. I'll save my style sheet. Go back to my preview box here, and if I scroll down, I've got my white section in the middle again, which is looking good. It's a little bit squished on the edges there, so I think we can change that. We'll do a bit more styling to this hashtag main section. Let's add some padding in. So the padding we want to add in, we're going to write 0 EM, 1 EM, 1 EM. Set a little bit of space around the outside of the page there. The font size, we already know it's 1. Actually, we probably don't need to change that again. So I might just leave the font size as it is. Line height's good. Padding top, we're going to make it 10 pixels. I think that will probably do us for now. Let's just have a look. We'll press Ctrl S to save. Go back to the page, and F5 will actually refresh this page. You can see now we've got a bit of extra padding at the top, a bit of padding around the sides of the page. That text is fitting nicely into our document. Okay, so far so good. Let's go back and have a look at this original, and we'll see what else we can add to this section. So scroll down. Looks like we've got a bit of a header going on here where we've got some red text. Okay, so let's make this header red, and it looks like it should be in capital letters as well. Okay, so that section in my index page, let's find it, is actually a H2 heading. So let's style up the H2 tag next. So in my style here, we've got H1 over here, so I might as well go just below that so we can keep all the H1s and H2s together. So my H2 heading, I'm going to style it up, and I'm going to choose the color as red, and I'm also going to text transform it into uppercase. And then I'm going to close my curly brace. Alright, I'll press Ctrl S to save it, go back and F5 to preview the changes, and we can see now we've got this nice little H2 heading that stands out a little bit. That's looking good. Next thing to style up, just down a little bit lower, I noticed that this video is still on the left hand side of the page. I think it'd be nice if it was in the middle. Okay, so back in our code, I'm going to go straight to my index.html document and head to the bottom where I know that video is. We've already put the video in here. In the p tag where it makes a new paragraph, just simply put a space and write align equals, in quotation marks, right center. That will push it into the center of the page. If I press Ctrl S and save it, refresh the page, we've now got a video in the center of the page there. Next thing I want to style up is the copyright statement at the bottom. It is down here, just can't see it because the black text doesn't stand out on the black background. So in the code, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this paragraph where the copyright is a unique ID name. So I'm going to write LP ID equals, and I'm just going to write footer. Okay, I'm going to go back to my style tag now, and somewhere down to the bottom, I'm just going to write hashtag and then write footer, and that will allow me to style up just that footer section at the bottom. Okay, so what we want to do first of all is align our text in the center of the page. We will also change the color to white. And finally, we'll just make the font size a little bit smaller. So font dash size, we're used to having 1 EM. Let's change that to 0.85 EM. It's a little bit smaller. We'll see how that looks. Okay, I'll close my curly brace after that. That's just going to style up that footer section at the bottom of our page, or the copyright section. Press Ctrl S to save that. I'll save my index page as well. And we'll go and preview it. Just watch below the video there. We'll see if we can see our copyright come back. Sure enough, it does. White writing, centered text, and a little bit smaller. So this page is looking really good. The bottom section there, our footer area is all done. Going up, we've got this main section all done. The text looks great. Going up a little bit further, the picture looks awesome. It's only this top section here. We're missing our H1 heading, and we're also missing our menu bar. So let's go and see what's going on here, and we'll try and work it out. Make it look a bit better. Okay, so our H1 heading, have we styled that up in our CSS code yet? I thought we had. Yeah, we did. We just haven't put a color in it. So let's give it a color. So the color for our H1 heading, I'm going to choose like a lightish color. I'm going to use a hashtag code here, FFD88E. I'll save that now. Go back to my page and refresh it. And now I can see my Isuzu Ute Australia header now that I've added that color into my H1 style tag. Alright, now comes the confusing part, the menu bar. Okay, this isn't easy, so you're going to have to listen carefully, and I recommend just copying me straight out what I do. Hopefully it works on yours. So in the index page, the index HTML page, we need to find our menu bar, the unordered list. First of all, we need to put in some hyperlinks. Okay, we need to turn these into actual buttons. So before the word home, let's do our usual hyperlink code, ahref equals, and we know that's going to link to our index page, so index.html. The next ones though, we have a bit of an issue because we haven't made any pages. So I'm just going to guess the name of them. If I'm doing a dmax page, I'm obviously going to call it dmax.html. Okay, so I'll link it to dmax.html. Even though it doesn't exist at the moment, it will shortly. And don't forget to move these little A tags after the words. These are the closing link tags, and we do want these to be the hyperlinks. So we'll do the same thing again, ahref equals, and on the mux line, we're going to link it to mux.html, and then move the closing A bracket after the words mux. And finally, we'll add one more link in, ahref equals, after mux, we've got the contact page, so let's write contact.html. Oops. And then we'll move that closing A bracket after the word contact. So just look carefully that you've got your hyperlinks in the same way as what I do. ahref equals, we put the name of the page, close our quotation marks off. That's what's going to be a hyperlink, and then we close off the A tag. Same for dmax, mux, and contact. Remember, these bottom three pages, contact, MUX and DMAX, haven't been made yet. So when we test these links, they won't work yet. But later on, when we make those pages, it will. Okay, so I'll just save that for the minute. If I go over to my preview box here and refresh it, you can see now we've got some hyperlinks appearing. Quite dark in colour, so they are a bit hard to see, but the links are there. If I try and click DMAX, obviously it doesn't work. And the same would happen for the other pages, except for Home, which we know does work. Alrighty, so we've got to start. We need to style them up now and make them look like a menu bar. So the first thing we're going to do with this unordered list is give it a unique ID name. Because we're going to be using bullet points or unordered lists later in the piece, we need to give this one a unique name. So we'll give it the ID of menu. Okay, and we're also going to give these list items a bit of an ID name. So the list items, their ID is going to be just items. Keep it nice and simple. I'm just going to copy that and do that for each list item in the menu bar there. Okay, so at the start of each list item I've got ID equals items. That way we can style up just these 4 buttons and not affect any other bullet points in our document. And then up the top we added in ID equals menu for our unordered list. Okay, so we can do some formatting in our CSS code that will affect our entire menu bar in one hit, and that's in the menu section. So that might be the bit that we style up first. So let's style up this unordered list. That's going to affect all 4 items in our menu bar. So going over to our style CSS document here, I'll make a bit of space at the bottom. Let's write in the word hashtag menu. Opening up a curly brace, first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the bullet points. So I'm going to write list style type as none. So in our list we would have had bullet points because it was an unordered list, but if we tell it that we want no style type, that removes the bullet points. It stays as a list but just scraps the fancy stuff, so the bullet points. While we're here, we'll put a margin as 0 and padding as 0 onto the document, and we'll also add in overflow. Oops. And set overflow to hidden. Closing the curly brace now, so we just added this to the hashtag menu section. We've got rid of the bullet points and set our margin and padding to 0. Overflow is hidden. I'm going to save that style sheet, go over to my document and test it, and it's just moved our hyperlinks over to the left here, so it's lining up with the edge of our page. Okay, so not much has happened so far. There's also no bullet points as well. Let's keep going. We'll style up a little bit more. Next thing I'm going to do is style up the individual items. I'm not going to do too much to those. We'll just do hashtag items. So back in my index HTML tag here, we're just styling up the individual list items now. Okay, and all we're going to do is write inside a curly brace float left. So let's push our list items over to the left of the page, so we won't have our menu bar in the middle or over to the right. They're going to be shoved over to the left hand side of our page. Okay, so we'll save that. You're probably not going to see too much of a change here, okay, apart from bring it down to 1 line. That's always a good thing, but you can see they're very squished in on the left hand side of the page. So we will need to do some formatting in our style sheet there to space these out and make them look like actual buttons, and that's what we're going to do now. We need to style up both the link and what we call a visited link. So when you actually click on one of these hyperlinks, for example home, it changes color and goes purple. For these links that I haven't clicked on yet, they stay blue. So that's just an ordinary link that's blue, and a visited link generally goes purple. So it's our job now to style up both of those options, so visited links and normal links, and make them look exactly the same. And we want to make them look like our menu bar buttons. Alright, so in our style tag, what we're going to do now is style up our A tags, which is our hyperlinks. And I'm going to do a colon, and I'm going to write the word link. So that's going to style up our normal links. But at the same time, I want to style up our visited links. So when we've clicked on a link, I want it to look exactly the same. So I'm going to do a comma, write A again, and write visited. So they're the 2 types of links we're dealing with at the moment, normal links and visited links. Let's style them up and make them look like buttons. So opening the curly brace, we'll go down, we'll change the display to block, and the width of each button, I want to have it at 120 pixels. I'm going to add more in a moment, but I'm just going to close them off, save it, and preview it and see what's happening. Okay, so you can see now that we've used this block style, and we've also changed the width of each button to 120 pixels, which has spaced it out and it's made it look like a pretty decent looking menu bar already. Do need to fix our colors and stuff up though. So let's do the font weight first of all. We'll make it bold. That way we've got bold text in our buttons. Now the color we want is white. That's for our text color. The background color of the buttons, we're going to leave it the same as our page color, which is black. Going down a bit further, we'll keep going. We'll align the text in the center of each button as well. So text align will be center. Let's save that now. Control S to save. Refresh the page. We're starting to get a much nicer looking menu bar. We can read the text. Still nice and evenly spaced out, but we're not finished yet, so let's keep going. Below the text align center, we're going to put in some padding and set it to 4 pixels. We're going to do text decoration equal to none. That basically gets rid of the underline from our hyperlinks, so if you want to get rid of the decoration, write none. And last of all, we're going to do the text transform to uppercase, and that will give us capital letters for our menu bar. So I've saved that. Go and preview it. Let's watch these underlines disappear and our text turn into uppercase. So that's a really nice looking menu bar at the moment. And to make it even more interactive, let's put in a rollover effect. So when we roll over the top of these links, either hovering over them or when we're actually clicking them, we want them to change color. So we need to open up another style tag down here, and it's one called A, so it's a hyperlink again, colon, hover. So when we're hovering over the top of this link. I'm also going to do another one, so do comma and write A colon, and this time I'm going to write active. That means when we're actually clicking down on the link. We're going to style it up for those two scenarios. So when we're hovering over a link or when we're clicking on a link, what do we want to do to it? So we're simply going to change the color. I want it like a reddish kind of color, but a light one that will contrast well with the black. So I'm going to do hashtag FF5C5C. That's all we need to do for that. Just change the color of the text. So I'll save it again, go and preview it. Now when I hover over my menu bar, we've got that changing color effect going on. If I visit a link, so if I click on the home button, it still looks the same. We've told it whenever we visit a link, it's going to look the same as a normal link. If I try one of these other pages, obviously it's not going to work. Okay, they aren't linked up yet. But that's looking pretty sweet. I think that will do us for this tutorial. The video has gone on long enough. You should have a nice heading at the top, a working rollover menu bar, apart from these 3 pages we haven't made yet. We've got our banner that fills 100% of that div tag, which is almost all of our page. We've got another div section down here where we've got our body text, the nice little H2 header that's red. We've got a video that when we press play on will play. And we've also got our copyright statement at the bottom. Alrighty, so that's the index page, pretty much done for now. Save it all up. That's both your style sheet and your index page, and in the coming videos we'll make the DMAX, MUX and contact pages.